All right, evening everyone. More of a time crunch than ever on this one. Tuesday evening, almost 6:30, just after 6:30 Central Time, Southern Mississippi. Race starts in a minute and a half. We're going to be doing 12 laps of Crit City. Clockwise, we're going to come out of the pens here and make a left. So I just got home from work. Changed clothes. Got on the bike. Here we are. 30 seconds to go. It is cold out. It was sub-freezing last night. Trying to get you a weather for the next 20 seconds here. It's currently 38 with 79% humidity, so it is cold. And here we go. Switch over to first person view and wind it up. They're gone. That's sucked. Hey, hey,
Yeah.
press those two buttons.
What?
Thank you. Looks like a group of 5 behind us. I think I'm actually going to let up because that group behind me is catching me. I still have another 6 laps to go. Me too. Looks like 5 of them still. There were 4. Now they're back up to 5. They're on the same lap as me. You can see them on the map there coming up behind me. Here we go. So including me, there's now 6 of us in this group. I'm going to check catching that guy that I was riding with. That's why I let up. He jumped on too. Now up to 7. Four to go. So the guy in this blue and gray and black camo, oh, here's the front group. So this guy in front of me is a lap ahead of us. There's two guys behind us. They've slowly been catching us. And they just caught us. Last lap. our final walk in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job, guys. Here's what we're going to do today. I want to end up on the friggin' stairs. The view is fantastic. It is absolutely gorgeous. We're going to take this walk in all the way up, right into our cool down at the top of the stairs. Finish on 5. Hold my face with the and remember, guys, as we do that cool down, you get the weight. Okay? Remember that confidence is so key. That's our energy and focus. It's also appreciation. Taking that time out of your day. Any sport in your city, you need to put together into your mental and your physical health and your progress along that. And a nice, easy, cool down walk. We're going to take it up here. And we're going to move it cool down at 5. Come up on the second step. One of the largest areas in which this is interesting and amazing. And we're going to get a great, fantastic view as well. So take up arms and legs. Let it come down to that many intervals. Let's bring it up to the left. And stop the ears of the moves. The knees up. Easy. Those hamstrings. Now, if we were outside today, we're running outside at 2 and it's more imperative to do that cool down. Relaxing, that's taking you out. The muscle is stretched out. The quads can come back. If you put up, you stretch those quads out. Squeeze the head forward. Now, when you squeeze, I want you to sit like this. So, you don't want to arch to that. Don't want to press the body. Let you feel that stretch in your quads. And you have to do a lateral step. It's a couple. Get that force over the other side. Turn around to the other direction. Step. Twist over. See one more there. Take out the legs. Take out the arms. Guys, how amazing. Workout. We're coming to 7. That's a good workout. That's very nice. See you soon, guys. All right. Getting my breath back slowly here. Well, looks like there were C's and D's in this race. I think. Or an E, I don't know what E is. I think we all are on the course together. Obviously, we're not scored together. And we start a couple minutes behind each other. All right, let me save this away. And I'll come back into the game. Definitely turn these fans off. One of the times my daughters were out here, I had them turn off 2 of my fans, 2 of my 4. While I was racing. It's just that cool out here, but
And when I'm not putting out the heat, those fans cool me down very fast. All right, I did my very, very abbreviated warm-up in Innsbruck, so I'll head over to Richmond for my cool down. Get out of this tall gear. And I'll give you a debrief on how that race could have gone better. All right, so start from the beginning. Came home very rushed. I think I came in the door at 6:09 for a 6:34 start. Had to change clothes. Had to get the computer all out here set up. Of course, Zwift had to do an update. Couldn't get my streaming software set up correctly, so I struggled with that a little bit. And then, so I think I only had about 7 minutes of actual warm-up. I used my same warm-up workout, but with only 7 minutes, it didn't get very high in wattage. I knew it wouldn't. So what I did, try to get my muscles as warmed up as quickly as I could. One, I didn't turn the fans on because I didn't want them to stay cold during the warm-up. Two, I knew that I could work the muscles, get everything moving through them as quickly as I could, and my heart rate raised up quicker by running a higher cadence. So for 7 minutes, I ran with a cadence of 130, which was difficult, but I did the job. I had my heart rate up to like low 150s. Check the filter. So I mean, not as deep of a foundational workout or warm-up as I wanted, but I got the muscles warmed up, I got the heart rate warmed up. It was okay. As you could see, I had to put in some pretty big effort at the beginning, but got toward the front. See, we came out of the pins, made a left on the course. There's the, so now we're on the straightaway, just after the start finish line, because of where we come out. Straightaway, left-hand turn, right-hand turn. So before that right-hand turn, I was at the front, like 4th, 5th place, something like that, where I wanted to be. So I was happy with that. Real big group at the front. Remember, this is Tuesdays. Tuesdays, typically, I found that, I think it's this race in particular, the 6:30 p.m. Central Time Tuesday crit race, tends to be very fast. And by that I mean that there are a lot of fast riders in it. So it's not just that those that are riding are fast, is that everyone that's in the race is fast. So we were, I was with the group, toward the front, all the way back at 30th, back up to 15th, back to 28th, up to 7th, kind of all over the place, just because the group was so big. You move toward the front, you let up a little bit, and you're at the back. And then you push and work your way through everyone, you're at the front, let up just a little bit, and you're at the back again. And this is the back of a very big group. So I noted that going in like at the right around the base of the climb on the third lap, we were still 34 people in the front group. And that was out of, I think, 55. Right, so it gives you an idea of, it's not just the race is fast, is that everyone that races it is very competent, very able, capable. Let's see, what else didn't I do well? So I remembered everything, didn't have time to get my hydration product mixed up, so I just have a bottle of water. Didn't really get any of that into the body and working prior to the race, even if I did have it mixed up, because I only had 7 minutes of warm-up. I did get the bike and wheels and weight all switched over just in time. And then where did the race fall apart for me? So I felt like I was doing pretty good. Sitting in the mid 160s for heart rate. And I use that just as my goal, as my, not goal, as my big measuring stick. Simply because if I can be with the group and have a heart rate in the mid 160s, I can sustain that pretty well. And I wasn't, again, I'm trying to do, to unlearn everything I've taught myself. Not unlearn, teach myself new tricks. We'll go with that. And by that I mean, I know from my unscientific measuring that I can sustain high cadence. And I also know and put out some of my highest wattages sustained, seated with higher cadence. So I think I could probably, I'm not as sure on this, but I believe that I can put out a higher peak wattage out of the saddle, all in, down in the drops, full on sprint. But I can't sustain that wattage. What I can sustain is almost as high a wattage, seated with a higher cadence. I also know that I can keep the same wattage in a lower cadence. So we're not talking sprint now. Now we're talking pick a given wattage in a group drafting scenario. If I bring my cadence down, keeping the same wattage, I can bring my heart rate down with it. And at one point I saw my heart rate hit like 158, 159 during the race. Right, so everything going well there. It's hitting 170 plus during the climb. It never really settles back down until after the start-finish banner for various reasons. People kind of put the pressure on going through the up-down section on the downhill. Pressure on again on that 180 up to the start finish. So again, I found that everything working well there. And then I don't even know what lap it was on. Maybe 5. And I had a featherweight. So is that true? No, I didn't have a featherweight. I had a drafting power up. And we went in the climb. Everything's good. I'm sitting about halfway back. Not too concerned yet. And it does tend to stretch out there. Not the perfect position I like to be in, but not like I was at the back trying to make up a bunch of room as we went in the climb. So I was okay with that. And it climbs. There's kind of a leveling off. It's not flat, but it does let up. You make during the levels off, left turn, and then climbs again. And at the speeds that we go, I've chosen to, if I have a featherweight, to drop it on that second climb piece. Because I found that typically if you drop it at the beginning of the climb, on that first climb piece, it wears out before you get to the bottom, or get to the end of the second climb piece. And the top of the second climb piece is where you hit 6% plus. So that's really where you're going to see the most benefit from it. And where people will start to fade, which means that's where the extra dig's going to happen if people are trying to tighten the screws. So I'd rather spin it up during the bottom climb section. Maybe even grab a bigger gear toward the falls flat in the middle. Drop it back down a gear as you make the turn, hit the featherweight, and have that make adjustments as you finish that second climb. And then you'll probably have some left over as you make the right turn and head into the pretty flat section. Well, that's what everyone did. So I went from halfway back, everyone dropped the featherweight, and I was at the back. And I think there's one guy back there with me. And all of a sudden the gap started to form. Don't panic, we're all good. People will fade some. Some of that happened. I think there was a couple guys with me now toward the back. Seriously thought about jumping, like jump across to the front now. Right, there's a gap forming. It was like I was behind this person, the gap's right there, right? Put in the dig, get across. It's too big of a gap. No one else is responding. You have to go. And then I didn't go. So, it was me and 2 others. And I think we're all trying to put in some effort to catch the group. And the gap was sitting right about where it was through the downhill section. Did the 180 along the straightaway, and that was it. Never caught him again. Oh no. Is that true? Yeah, I think that was it. Kind of all runs together. Anyway, that was it. That was the end of the race, even though it wasn't the end of the race. But the race was over at that point. So in reality, you could argue that if you're racing to win the race, as soon as I didn't jump across, I quit. Sounds harsh, but if the end goal is to win the race, if you are not in the front group, you will not win the race. Therefore, regardless of what I did or didn't think I had in the tank, by making the conscious decision not to jump across, I quit. So the rest of the race then was just a matter of, seeing if we could stay in front of the group behind. With 6 laps to go, decided that wasn't going to happen. So I let up. Group of 5 came around, jumped on with them. So now there were 6 of us. We ended up catching the guy that I was riding with. I made 7. There's another 2, 3, 4 guys behind us that looked like they were slowly catching us. 20 some odd seconds behind last time I saw. And then they were overtaken by the front group. So they'd been lapped. And the front group was 2 some odd minutes behind me. Really wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, bam, they're passing us. So then it was wind it up quick, get in that group, because that becomes a free ride. Right? Get in the group, stay in the group, they race, they finish, and whatever gap you formed on the guys you were with, try and hold the gap, because if they didn't jump in the group, then you basically got a free gap on them. Well, I didn't know all 7 of us that were in that group, but several of them made the jump also. So we were all in that group. As what was lap 11 for us was really lap 12 for the front group. They took off on that downhill section, as you'd expect they would, because they're all trying to wind it up and lose whoever they can for their race finish. And there wound up being 3 of us, I think, that were then working together. I think we picked up some more. Might have been, I don't remember now, 5 or 6 or something in the group as we went in the last lap. And I get a featherweight. So best time to use a featherweight, as I already explained, was on that uphill section. And I know from prior races that I can put in a solid effort for a mile and a quarter or something. So my goal, I didn't have it pre-thought out. I was just kind of thinking it as I went and making real-time or quarterback calls out on the field during the play. Was, all right, let's see, I'd kind of seen how some others were able to climb or not. So then they could probably climb with everyone else, but it's always hard to tell because, one, people could put in a big effort at the end, knowing it's the end, or two, could be they've been kind of holding back and really weren't putting in their max effort. So it's always a question. I thought I could climb pretty well relative to everyone else, but who knows? So then as the race was evolving, I thought, well, I should get to the front and drop the featherweight and ride everyone off my wheel, not try and come around everyone. Because if I try and come around everyone, yeah, they won't necessarily see me coming, but if they have like a view like this, they'd see me moving. Again, it's not totally like real life. The problem is I didn't want to wind up the heart rate too early either. So as I came into the bottom of the last climb, I think I was in third. We were all climbing about the same, a little jostling around, but no one was really making any moves. No one's falling back. On the bottom climb section, like I said, picked a slightly larger gear toward the semi-flat middle section, dropped it down one gear, dropped the featherweight toward the top climb section, and started winding it up and moved to the front. And what happened was, as we came around, so again, I still have some featherweight left as I crest the top of the climb, and I had 3 or so, maybe 4 meters on the guy behind me. And so I just continued to wind it up, watching that rear view mirror meter thing. And I just, as I continued to wind it up, put the pressure down, put the hammer down more and more. I didn't drop the hammer. I didn't, get out of the saddle, sprint, didn't wind up a sprint, nothing. I just continued to bring the wattage up and keep it up. And I watched the meters continue to click off. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 19, and I just continued to get a bigger and bigger and bigger gap. So they were letting me go. But I also wasn't just going to go, okay, cool, they let me go. Because I've seen people make up massive gaps on that downhill section. So I continue to just push across the top, continue pushing through the downhill section. I know that when the name gets small enough, when it hits 50 meters, the meter disappear. So I could watch the names. So I could watch this guy along the bottom here. I'll slow down a little bit, see how he's getting bigger and bigger. Bigger, Jay Mahone there. Bigger, bigger. I'm slowing up a little bit to make sure they catch me. Getting a little bit bigger. I need to slow up a little bit, I think. And then right there, see how all of a sudden we're within 50 meters. There's my 6 miles, so I'll just call it. So I knew that I had at least 50 meters on him. Kept the pressure on. Knew I had him once I was, still had at least 50 meters because I never saw the meter sign. Did the 180, everything's good. I started to see they started to come back within 50 meters. On the straightaway, I think they put on a full sprint because at one point I saw them within like 25 meters as I came across. I don't think they came across too far behind me from what I could see. And anyway, so that was that. Wound up basically just riding away from everyone for the finish there. Unfortunately, that was not the that was not the front of the race. All right, let's see. Get you an update on how I did. That's what I'm doing. So 12 laps, wound up finishing 23rd, and 24th came in 1 second behind me. So yeah, they made up some time. So anyway, that was that. All came down to, like everything else, a gap formed. I did not make the conscious effort to close the gap, at which point the race was over. Yeah, still good effort, still good exercise, still had a good time. This wasn't where I wanted it to finish. Lots of things I could have done different, but that's just, that's part of it. Might just chalk this one up to Tuesday night racing, and it is fast. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Not too much more I could say there. Always something to learn. Again, doesn't happen unless you actually learn from it, though. But with that, keep Zwifting. I will see you in the virtual world.